want you to look around the parking lot. Does anything look different from when you last saw it? Anything different? I'm gonna take that as a no.
Yeah, well, there used to be like a vehicle right here. I remember there used to be a vehicle.
Is that one different?
Yeah, because there used to be a vehicle right here. It used to be like a truck or some sort of.
This vehicle?
No, not this vehicle. There used to be a vehicle parked right there.
I think I have the key for it. Shit. Stuck in here. Alright, well, I think that's my key. Oops. This way. I think that might be your car.
Wait, what? This is my car.
This is your car, dude.
What? Where did you? Oh my gosh.
This is your car.
My baby. That's my baby.
I'll have to clean her up and add
Add
a couple things, but otherwise it's your car.
Mwah.
Just kiss
My
it.
baby.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. This is awesome. How Amway did something to me. It's like, have you ever wondered what it's like to be in a cult? Well, I'm about to present my experiences in several parts. The things I went through, how I felt like a clown, how I really, at the end of the day, just felt like a demon, felt like a monster by the way they treated me at times. And honestly, how it was just stressful and frustrating. And how honestly, I wish these painful memories would just wash away. I'd say, for me at this point in time in my life, I'm about healed, fully healed, but I'm still healing from the experiences of being in multiple cults, including more recent ones. And the thing that people really don't understand is cults don't have to be contract related necessarily. They don't have to be anything to do with, hey, if you don't do this, you're gonna die kind of scenario. Cults can simply be anything where you are being told not just what to do, but how to live, and your whole life is practically under a microscope. Your personal life is under a microscope. Your family is under a microscope. Everything you do, people want to know, and they know by asking you questions. And not only asking questions, but acting like they care. But in general, they're just taking notes. They're just trying to follow up on you. And to me, it's just, from my experiences, it's really disturbing, because it really can put you in vulnerable positions, and that's what they're trying to do. That's what people in cults like to do, is put you in vulnerable positions so they can take advantage of you and control you and manipulate and sometimes lie to mess with your emotions, because that's really the goal, is how can I emotionally have you gravitate towards the agenda of the culture. It could be a church, it could be a business, it could be a job, it could be even the music industry, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be the said Illuminati. It could be anything. It could be a club, for all I know. I mean, it could be even a certain college, that I'm not even aware of. But for me, cults have a very, very potentially devastating consequence on your health, not only your mental health, but your emotional health and your spiritual health. And I think when people see child stars rebel or act out when they are 18, they have to wonder why they're doing that. And oftentimes the public doesn't really understand or take the time to really ask the question of what happened to them to react so aggressively towards maybe Disney. And to be honest, it's because Disney is a cult. It's by the nature of of how they treat their actors and singers and all that, and any child that is a part of it. And so it doesn't shock me when you see child stars lose it at the end of their childhood. People need to understand that cults have a way of screwing with your mind. They have a way of getting underneath your skin. They have a way of making you feel like it's your fault when certain things happen, or when you try to confess the wrongs of other members. The leaders have a way, typically, of explaining how they are right, how maybe the members are, maybe not, for example, maybe they didn't mean what they said, or they'll make up excuses to defend the people that they're close with. Or sometimes from experience, they'll be like, oh, well, they never did that. I don't believe you. It's their cop-out way to really not address any potential issue or really give a damn about your feelings. It's really kind of their nice way, their passive-aggressive way to deal with issues. And I dealt with that in the ICOC. I dealt with that in Amway. I dealt with that kind of rhetoric at Seattle Talent. I dealt with that a little bit with Wealthy Affiliate. This culture of control, this culture of fear, this culture of if you don't do this, then you are the bad person. You are wrong. You have to follow things to a T, or you won't get the attention you deserve. These very abusive vices that are used to make you think that you're not doing enough, or maybe not enough for the culture, and that you need to somehow grow. And, for me, it took a lot. It took a heck of a lot to get out of the last two cults I was in. Speaking of Amway and the ICOC, it took a fight. It's not something you can just leave and not have this tendency to come back, because there's something about cults that people who've never been in one don't understand. There's a sense of belonging, a very unusual amount of belonging and sense of energy that you don't find in the world. There's a sense of protection that you usually feel in a cult that you don't feel in the world. And that's a fact, because you feel like you're part of something. You feel like you're surrounded by people who care. They have a way of presenting themselves and treating you in such a way at times, whereas people don't normally in society treat you. But if you think about it, at the end of the day, they're grooming you emotionally, mentally, and maybe physically grooming you. Thankfully, I've never was physically groomed, but I was emotionally groomed. They groom you, and it's very hard to tell if they're grooming you, because they are very, very quiet about it. It's really not obvious. It might be one thing if they're being sexual, but emotional grooming is very, very invisible and is very, very hard to catch most times. And a lot of times they're really just doing that because they're just trying to collect information. They're trying to keep tabs on you, because if anything happens and they catch you doing something they find against their belief or their culture, you're going to hear about it. They're going to talk to you. They're going to harass you. They're going to bully you. They're going to abuse you in any manner possible to control you, or they're going to find subtle ways or passive-aggressive ways, more specifically, to feed the culture, to feed their teachings back into you, so they can continue to mold you into who they actually want you to be. They don't really love you for who you are in these businesses or jobs or cultures. They just want you to be who they think you should be versus who you really are in the sight of God. Hello, hello, hello. Now this is part 2, motherfucker. Anyways, so part 2 to these very dramatic experiences being in multiple cults, especially the last 2. So, where to begin? Well, let's start in 2020. So that wasn't too long ago. I just remember being introduced to this business, and I was pretty excited because I always wanted to be a business owner. And I was very naive, by the way, because of the way they presented it to me and everything on social media. And I didn't think much of it because this guy was someone I knew from high school. So I thought, oh, this is going to be kind of cool. I get to be my own business owner. I get to maybe have my own employees or something, or whatever. So I can, utilize this opportunity to break into the music industry. I thought that would be a very unique way to do that. So of course I agreed to meet up with him, and what ended up happening was I ended up going to this private meeting, pretty much in a very quiet neighborhood. I believe it was out in Auburn, I believe. Yeah, Auburn. And it just didn't strike me that it was odd at the time, that it was weird that I was going to some random stranger's house to learn about some business. And I kind of wish I would have thought about that, but I didn't. It just goes to show how naive I was at the time. Total red flag, by the way. I'm going to tell you this. If any job person or business person ever tells you to meet up privately somewhere, out in a quiet neighborhood or where no one's going to see you, that's a red flag. Not to say they're going to do anything to you, but it's just a red flag because it's most likely a cult. That's a first red flag right there, because if anyone wants to do a business deal with you, it's going to be in a public setting. It's never in a private setting. It's going to be at Starbucks, and you're surrounded by people with more well-known credibility. So, not to say that Amway wasn't or is not a credible business, but the way it was done was just very strange. So, what really got my attention was just the love that I was getting, the positivity, at least that I thought I was getting, which really, at the end of the day, it was just love bombing. It was a lot of emotional grooming and love bombing, which I didn't even know that was even a thing, because I loved it. I liked it because I grew up in a very broken home. I grew up, around narcissistic kind of people. So I thought the way they made me feel, I never quite felt like that over the years. They made me feel very special, unusually special. And I think for me, it meant a lot. It really meant a lot because I wasn't getting that, at work. And then, of course, being told I was going to be meeting a multimillionaire also really intrigued me too. And so the night went on, and this guy named Samir, who was a diamond at the time, I'm not sure if he's still in the business, but presented the plan. And I didn't, obviously, for me, understand a goddamn thing he said. It's the only thing I got out of it was you get to own your own business, you get to sell products, and that's it. But the plan itself, the compensation plan for me was just very confusing to understand. But after that, I got to shake hands with him. He seemed pretty friendly, at least to me, up front, So anyways, and side note, maybe he really is friendly, because I will want to just tell you this. Not everybody in a cult will love bomb you. There is some very genuine people that genuinely think they're doing the right thing, or have been led to believe they're doing the right thing. Some people really don't have an agenda. Some people really do care about you. But for the most part, most of these people really don't. So just want to throw that out there. But I ended up saying yes to the business. And of course, that's where it all started. Inevitably, things took place. There was drama, so I had to drop out of that partnership and go on to another partnership. And within those 2 years, it was a ride. Because not only did I join Amway, but I also joined the ICOC. And that also was quite the experience too. It was very emotional. At first it just seemed pretty lax, just a bunch of people really pumped about Jesus. I thought that was interesting. But as time went on, I just noticed red flags. Just people just started acting weird around me, and I didn't always know why, but for the most part, I think I sensed the fact of the matter that they couldn't handle that I was different. And you have to understand that if you're different in a cult, you're going to be treated differently than, let's say, their favorite friend in that cult. They're going to start acting different around you. And depending on the culture, they may not say it right away, but by their body language and by the way they talk to you, it's very clear that they are not comfortable around you, or they're just trying to convince you to be something else that you're not. But it was a very emotional 2 years in that church culture along with Amway. And when I dropped out of Amway in 2022, I thought it ended. I thought I had liberty. But I didn't, because I was in another cult. And so I was still fumbling. And there was just so many things that happened. And I will get to that in part 3, just the details of what I went through in Amway and the ICOC. I don't know if I'm going to have time to explain everything, but I'll give examples. But when I went through 2022 to 2023, it was just apparent that the church really was just trash. It was just... at first, for me, I thought maybe there was a major transition in the church. So that's why I left. That's why at first I initially left the church in 2023. I visited the church later on, or thought about going back for personal reasons. But inevitably, it just dawned on me that these people never changed, and that this is really what the culture was about. It never really changed at all. Just because they had changes of staffing and members didn't mean that the ICOC changed at all. So that was a wake-up call. And I'm going to go in the details, the fun details that you want to learn about next. And here they are, part 3. Anyways, here is part 3. So let's start with Amway, and then we'll get to the church. There was some highlighted moments that really just struck me during that time. The first one was when I was told I was gonna get kicked out over something that I had no control over. That was an eye-opener. Another eye-opener was when one of my upline's leader told me that being gay was a sin. Because, like, I've been told, like, on and off throughout my life that being gay was a sin. And, like, at this point in my life, like, I was genuinely trying to be, like, a better person, or at least I thought at the time. And that's a long story short. And he was like, duh. Just being downright obnoxious. So that was one, or that was two. Another one was just kind of like being alone for like the first 5-6 months of being in the business during COVID, like when we were all isolated, and like I didn't actually get to see my upline until like February. And mind you, I didn't see them and like since like that end of June of 2020. And I just remember in 2020, like my upline walking in my apartment with like their shoes on, which is just disrespectful, and making a big deal about how I didn't have enough products on hand. And mind you, I just moved in my apartment, and I was very new to the business, and I didn't quite understand the business yet, because like they failed to kind of like prepare me on like how to like, you know, maybe better assess myself in the business. So that was just kind of my thoughts on that when I look back, because I don't think I was quite prepared for the business anyways, mentally. So, and then in February of 2021, they just acted all sus around me. Like, I got invited to this hotel gathering, and one of my crossline got awarded, I think it was something to do with an eagle ship or something. I don't quite remember what it was, but we were celebrating, and one of my upline just forced me to sit on the floor, like, and I thought that was kind of strange. Like, they acted like they were royalty, and somehow I was just kind of their slave. And that's kind of how I felt. I felt like I really wasn't like important, you know? And I wasn't trying to like make myself feel more important than anybody, but it was just the way she went about it. It was kind of just, for me, disrespectful. And then there was even more eye-opening things, because when I started really developing in the leadership, worldwide part of the business, learning about leadership principles and all that from John Maxwell, and really just growing as a leader, which has helped me become the influencer you see today. I'm going to make a side note. I really did like the leadership program in Worldwide. I really liked the Maxwell books. I really liked growing as a leader and really learning how to challenge my thoughts, and really learn how to deal with pressure, daily pressure, business pressure, all that. So I'm just going to throw that out there. And when they saw that growth, they automatically, out of nowhere, just started talking to me. And then, of course, I got baptized, because I really just wanted to have a relationship with God. And so I'll get into that later. And so they went to my baptism, which really just touched me. And of course, they love bombed me without me even realizing it the whole fucking time. And then, of course, another eye-opener was when their upline was showing off their car that they paid, like, I believe, $30,000 in cash during a day that was really about me and my special moment with Jesus. And I just thought that was just so distasteful and so disrespectful. So that was another eye-opener. And then things just really kind of just went downhill. My upline really kind of approved this idea of me kind of like slowly getting off my meds and then eventually getting off my meds, which was a mistake. I should have really thought that through, but like I was all so hyped up and thinking I was invincible, which, you know, when you're in these kinds of cults like Amway, it's hard not to think rationally. So that really hurt me later down the road. And so another eye-opener was just like from October to about like the beginning of 2022, just like just being nitpicked for really weird things. And then like when my mental health was starting to get to a point of potential hospitalization, my upline just pretty much bitched to me and said, well, if you just want to quit, just throw in the towel now. And it just really showed me how much they really didn't care, about the fact that I was on the brink of wanting to hurt myself. And I just thought, wow, what a fucking jerk. And so from January to May, I was on a fine thread with Amway. I was on a fine line with this business, because at this point I just thought, with all the experiences I had, mind you, I didn't tell you everything. These were just kind of preview experiences I've had in the business. I just thought, man, I'm so sick of these fucking assholes, like narcissists. Imagine the words rolling in my head. And so during this 5 month, oh, my video stopped for some reason. I'm sorry. So during this 5 month time frame, it was a challenge, because part of me wanted to quit, but part of me told myself, hey, you dedicated so much to this business, you know, you've grown so much, you know, you still might be able to do your music, you still might be able to make a difference for your family, you still whatever. But then like once May hit, I was just burnt out. I was so tired. I was just so done with the business. I was so done with my upline. And the final straw really was when I quit, and I just called and I said, hey, I just want to quit. And when I got deleted out of the system, my upline just so nastily said, with just no emotion, no empathy, said sarcastically, they're like, oh, man, isn't that easy to get rid of someone out of the system? And that was just the end of it. And I felt liberated for like the first month from that business. But of course, then there was other issues, and I'm going to go into the ICOC. So I guess now there's going to be a part 4. There might even be 6 parts for all I fucking care. So let's go to part 4 about the other fucking wonderful culture called the ICOC.
I could tell it wouldn't be long when he was with me, me, singing I love rock and roll, put another dime in the jukebox, baby. I love rock and roll, so come on, take your time and dance with me. He smiled, so I got up and asked for his name. That doesn't matter, he said, because it's all the same. I said, can I take you home where we can be alone? And next we were moving on because he was with me, yay me.